What's up YouTube, this is Bison7x79 guys. I'm coming to you today with my latest strategy video, and this is a good one because it's going to be all about how to beat Thunder Dragons. Thunder Dragons are the newest meta-relevant archetype that's coming out in the Soul Vision Core Booster set. It officially releases in the TCG tomorrow, which is October 19th. Alright. Now, there's a quick overview about it, since that a lot of YouTubers have done card-by-card analysis and even combo tutorials, and they started putting up deck profiles. All the main deck Thunder Dragons, they have an effect where you can discard a card from your hand to do something. Alright, discarding from your hand is a cost, so you can't really block that. However, the effect going off and resolving in the graveyard is something we can also focus in on blocking. The other thing is that a lot of the main deck monsters also have this little clause: whenever this card is banished or is sent from the field to the graveyard, you could also do another effect. Which means it has two different effects that can go off either in the graveyard, or a similar effect that can go off when it's banished. Those are all the main deck monsters. When we get to the fusion monsters, okay, the fusion monsters have two similar effects. You can either fusion summon them using the Thunder Dragon Fusion spell, which is also on Soul Fusion, or you can special summon it during a turn a Thunder monster's effect was activated in the hand by tributing a Thunder effect non-fusion monster. In that case, you don't use a fusion spell. Alright, both Colossus and Titan do have effects. Colossus has a continuous effect. Cards cannot be added from the main deck to your opponent's hand except by drawing them. And Titan has the ability to pop cards whenever you activate cards from your hand to the graveyard. So be careful with Thunder Dragon Dark if your opponent has Thunder Dragon Dark or Thunder Dragon Matrix in the hands, because they can use this combo off with Titan and just pop your stuff. But both of them also have this little effect. If this card would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish Thunder monsters from your graveyard. Now, Colossus requires one Thunder monster, Titan requires two to be banished in the graveyard. And the thing about it is that focusing in on the banishing aspect, we can actually shut down those destruction effects, so we can actually be able to swing over them with cards like Chaos Hunter. Alright, Chaos Hunter, level 7 Fiend, Dark Attribute Fiend, 2500 attack, 1600 defense. You have to discard a card whenever your opponent special summons a monster, and then you can special summon this card from your hand. Your opponent cannot banish cards. It's a great generic card. It stops your opponent from banishing cards, so they won't. But it does fall short in the fact that if the card is sent from the field to the graveyard, they still get another effect. Or when the cards are discarded, they get effects. Alright, you also have, if you don't like Chaos Hunter, there's also Imperial Walls, a great Floodgate card. This prevents banishing cards. And if you're just worried about people banishing from the graveyard for things like Thunder Dragon Duo or even Blacklisted Envoy, because I've seen builds that run those cards, Necro Valley would be a great thing to just prevent your opponent from banishing stuff out of your graveyard. Alright. But of course, the Chaos Hunter, Imperial or Iron World, and Necro Valley are not just part of the situation, because you still have to block the effects from going off in the graveyard or being banished, and that would fall upon cards like Abyss Dweller, rank 4 card. If you that can make it, it should be in your extra deck. It basically blocks all monster effects that activate in the graveyard during the turn, so it does shut down both the discard and send from the field to the graveyard effects. Other cards to be utilized, and that's Soul Drain. Monsters that are banished, as well as monsters in the graveyard, cannot activate their effects. Alright, and those are the effects that start chains. Alright, so those Soul Drain and Abyss Dweller need to be up with Chaos Hunter, Imperial, Iron Wall, or Necro Valley to really hurt this deck in pair. Now, some good generic cards that you probably want to be looking at for your side deck, cards like Fossil Dyna Pachycivilo. Basically, it prevents players from special summoning. It has a cool flip effect that destroys special summon monsters, but because of the banish from the graveyard protection, it's better just to get this card on the field first. Alright. Vanity's Fiend prevents special summoning. There's Skill Drain, which shuts down all effects on the field, so things like Titan and Colossus really aren't going to be able to protect themselves or utilize their pop effects. Time won't be able to utilize this pop effect. Summon Breaker is a card that I personally think that a lot more players should be running in this in their side decks. I'm surprised it didn't get a lot of play last format, considering that when Gokis were extremely prevalent. Basically, what it does is that during main phase 1, if the turn player successfully conducts 3 summons of monster, a third summon of the monster, this turn it becomes an end phase. So the second, so think about in the scope of Gokis, they drop there. They would drop something like Junk Forward. They would go Marauding Captain and bring out extra monster. As soon as that monster brought up by Marauding Captain's effect hits the field, boom, turn over. In this particular case, it will be more like they get a couple monsters on the field and then go for like some summoner. That would end their turn. Of course, if you're worried about the fusions a little bit more, Kaijus are always a great way to go. You can distribute off their monsters. The fusion effects only are specifically for destruction, so they can't block tributing, which is a cost. Or the next couple of cards, which is basically Phoenix Wingman Blast, Compulsory Evacuation Device, and a card that I highlighted in my last deck profile, this the Yosenju Sky Striker, Yosenju Common 1, because basically they all target, but they bounce cards off the field back to the hand. Since fusion monsters don't go back to the hand, they go back to the extra deck, your opponent's gotta spend a lot more time just to rebuild their boards after you bounce them off. Alright, now one particular deck strategy I like to run against this is DNA Surgery. Basically, activate this card, declaring one monster type, and all face-up monsters on the field become that type. By turning that monster type into a different type, you can actually really screw over bringing out the Thunder Dragon fusions. Because if you actually turn around and read this, it can be special summoned during a turn. Thunder monster's effect was activated in the hand by triggering a Thunder effect non-fusion monster, which has to be on the field. If it's not an effect monster on the field, a Thunder monster effect not on the field, it's not going to be tributed, which means you can't summon out these guys. So this is a great way to shut things down. If you're particularly running Cyber Dragons, like I run DNA Surgery in, a single copy of maybe Cyber Dragon Core, or even a single Cyber Dragon, would be able to allow you to go into a pretty decent sized Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon just to turn around and be able to start swinging. Alright, and this one last pair of cards I'm going to be showing you guys, and these cards are going to be highlighted in the next deck I'm going to be profiling on my channel. Yep, Domain of the True Monarchs. That's right, I'm doing Domain Monarchs for the current format, and I can tell you right now, Domain of the True Monarchs, you have no cards in your extra deck, and you only want the player that controls a tribute summon monster. Your opponent cannot special summon monsters from this, from the extra deck. All right, plenty of this hurts. This card just hurts Thunder Dragons because they can't summon out their links. They can't summon out their fusions. It just hurts them very well. And then of course you have Majesty's Fiend, and that just between both having the main of the True Monarchs and Majesty's Fiend on the field, that's game right there for a Monarch player, because Majesty's Fiend, neither player, no, basically monster effects cannot be activated. That's what the card's effect reads. You can't special Majesty's Fiend, but monster effects cannot be activated. That's what that means. On the field, in the hand, in the graveyard, banish, no monster effects. It simplifies the game state so easily. So a combination of this card with Domain of the True Monarchs is going to be very hard for Thunder Dragons to overcome. Yeah, now I know that a lot of Thunder Dragons can easily be tribute summoned, but you're talking about playing with a card like a deck like Domain Monarchs, and of course we have things like, if you don't have Majesty's Fiend, we have cards like Erebus, which can bounce cards off the field. We have cards, we have Karaz, which can pop stuff. You have Monarch Stormforth, which can remove stuff off the field. So there's a lot of different outs that that Domain Monarchs have to Thunder Dragons built into their deck right now. Guys, these are my ideas about how to beat the Thunder Dragon deck once it becomes TCG Leo. If you think I missed any cards, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear your ideas. Oh, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this on my channel, make sure to subscribe. Enable notifications so you don't miss any videos I post. And guys, until next time, with my Domain Monarch build, peace.